Hi, I'm Emma from Honeybuns Bakery and welcome to yet another one of our lockdown baking sessions. Today we're going to go through one of the recipes for St Clements Cake. We're going to do it in a tray bake today, and it's from our gorgeous all-day cookbook, which is available online. It's especially relevant right now because our store cupboard section in the book walks and talks you through which ingredients you can sub in, so it's especially handy. I know that a lot of you are saying that you can't get hold of specific flours, and these recipes are really versatile and adaptable and forgiving. If you haven't got a particular type of flour, you can more often than not use another one. And also for ease, they are in the main, and this one is today, a one bowl mix, so you're not faffing around with lots of kit and caboodle. So first of all, I'm going to crack open 3 free range eggs. Hopefully you can get hold of these. And I haven't got this as a vegan recipe yet. It's gluten free. Those of you who know us will know that we do exclusively gluten free. This, I am using dairy in this, but you could very easily convert it to dairy free. And it is nut free because I'm using lots of milled seeds rather than our beloved ground almonds in this one. I've pre-weighed out 100 grams of sorghum flour. For those of you who haven't met sorghum before, it looks to all intents and purposes like normal wheat flour. It's made from a ground grass seed and is very extensively used as a flour in Asia and Africa. It's really, really good as a gluten-free all-purpose flour. We've then got 140 grams of milled flax seed, or otherwise known as linseed, sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, and I haven't ground them all up myself. It comes in a pack like so. We don't accept any monies from Linwoods or any other companies that we share with you. We just want to try and help point you towards some really good ingredients. We use these guys a lot. It's a really good product. If you can't get hold of that and you do have something like ground flax on its own, that's fine. If you haven't got any ground seeds and you can tolerate nuts, then ground almonds would work just as well. If you can't get those, then you can just add, instead of worrying about the sorghum and the seeds, take the 100 grams of the sorghum and the 140 of the seeds, 240 grams, use 240 grams of general purpose gluten-free flour like Dove's Farm. So if you see what I mean, you can sub in, mix and match as much as you want. This is my favourite combination from the recipe with the milled seeds. You get a gorgeous nutty, without the nuts, but a nutty texture and flavour and interest to the mix, packed with nutrition, but you don't get the heaviness that you would if you were using a wholemeal flour. That's only my opinion, but I really like it. 225 grams of crystallised sweetener. We call it crystallised sweetener or liquid sweetener in the book, and we explain why in the intro. It's because it gives you a huge scope of what you can choose to use. So I've got light brown sugar in my cupboard. That's what I'm using today. You could use bog standard white granulated, you could use coconut sugar, you could use demerara, whatever you want, as long as it's crystallised form in this recipe. Then 2.5 teaspoons of gluten-free baking powder, especially important to check it's gluten-free if you are cooking for a celiac. 2 tablespoons, I don't know whether you can actually see that against that background, that's lemon curd. If you wanted to make this dairy-free, you would use a lemon or lime marmalade or jam instead. I haven't been able to find, and there may well be one, I haven't managed to find a vegan lemon curd yet. And then, so stressing this is not dairy-free, this version, I've got 300 grams of butter that I put in the pan and melted. I'm going to add that. Whenever you're doing this, be careful that you don't pour piping hot melted butter straight onto your mix, onto raw eggs, because the eggs will scramble, which would be a suboptimal outcome. So if you want to make it dairy free, you would use oil rather than butter. So you could use corn oil, sunflower oil, refined coconut oil, where the coconut flavour is refined out. You won't get the coconut flavour in there. and you would use as I've just mentioned, you'd use a dairy-free lemon citrus jam or marmalade instead of the lemon curd. So I'm going to whiz this up and then I'm going to show you the consistency of the mix once it's ready. You can do this by hand if you haven't got the handheld izzy-wizzy thing. Scrape it down, scrape underneath, make sure you've got no globules of unmixed flour. Give it another whiz. There we go, that is ready. And I'll just show you, you can see the really lovely nutty, seedy visuals on that. And it gives a really, really, in cooking terms, in bakery, professional bakery terms, we call it a batter rather than a mix. And you can see in that cake batter all of the seeds. Really, really gorgeous, gorgeous flavour. What I've forgotten to do, and it's really important, I don't know how I forgot this, is to squeeze in the juice of some citrus fruit. So you need 50 ml of combined lemon and orange juice, and you need the rinds of 1 lemon and 1 orange zested into the mix. To zest, I would use, these are fantastic if you've not come across them before, they're called a microplaner. Really takes the hard work out of, and the pain, because you don't get your knuckles anywhere near it. Takes the pain out of zesting citrus fruit. So you put that into the mix as well, and then you'll butter, with malted butter, brush your tray. I'm using a disposable foil tray, and I baked the cake mixture at 180 degrees C, and that took 25 minutes. It may take just a little bit longer, all ovens do vary. It's gone quite a nice dark golden colour, springy to the touch, and this is my quite poor effort at making it look pretty. In the book it looks fabulous. I'll show you the book photo as well, because someone far more talented on visuals did it. And to achieve that in the recipe, we advised you to put the cake mix in the oven, cut the oranges as thin as you can. They need to be thinner than that. I did this by hand, but they're not thin enough. They'd need to be half that thickness really. And then we advise you to lay the oranges on top of your tray bake halfway through the cooking time so that they don't sink straight through your batter. I actually wouldn't do that, having gone through the recipe again, in all honesty. I would bake the cake straight through, finish the baking time on it, make sure it's baked through properly, allow that to cool, and then I would slice the oranges as called for, as thin as you can, and I put them under the grill so that you just get them to bubble and start to caramelise. You could sprinkle them with some brown sugar as well to help that caramelisation process. I would keep a very, very keen eye on the oranges so that they don't catch and they don't burn under the grill. That would be so much easier. Then you can rest them as you want on top, and then brush them with some orange marmalade or lemon marmalade, whatever you want to use, to glaze them. And to do that, you just put a little bit of the marmalade in a microwavable bowl, stick that in the microwave for a minute, make sure that it's melted, and then brush your citrus with that. It's a really delicious cake. It will keep for 7 days. Yeah, it'll probably be eaten on the first or second day, but in theory you can keep it in an airtight tin for 7 days. It freezes really well, and you can also warm it up and serve it as a pudding. So we've got the tray bake that we baked earlier of the St. Clements orange and lemon, which is gluten-free, nut-free, but it does have dairy in and it isn't vegan. And I've cut a portion off just to show you. I would take 2 portions this size and use a heart-shaped cutter or anything else that you have to hand, but it needs to be that shape, which I would say is roughly, 6 centimetres across. And then cut the portion of the cake in half, like a sandwich or baguette, that way across, so across the horizontal, open out, ready to then cut your squares off. I've pre-jammed some of these already in my eagerness to show you what to do. And today we're featuring a really lovely company. They're based in Devon, the Bay Tree Food Company. They do an amazing range of cocktail preserves. These are newly launching. I think they're just out now. And this is the Mango Passion Mojito. So they're cocktail based. This one's got rum in, lime, lots of other goodies. Absolutely delicious. Really proper chunky bits of mango as well that you can see in there. So super posh, super yummy, special occasion spread. They've also got amazing, which we'll go on to later in another video, vegan mayos, some with chili, other flavourings in, but all natural, gorgeous, really, really good quality products that we like a lot. So you spread those lavishly, taking a very, very pretty transparent glass sundae dish or pudding dish, trifle dish, whatever you want to call it. Place your hearts in there to line it. Depending on the size of your dish, will depend clearly on how many hearts you fit in there, but 4's going to work brilliantly. I'm then going to use, we've got eau de vie, beautiful, beautiful cherry brandy from the Somerset Cider Brandy Company. I would personally prefer to use, I love this stuff, don't get me wrong, but for this particular recipe, we've got limoncello in the book, which works really, really well with the citrus flavours, but I haven't got any because of lockdown, so make do and mend. Be quite generous, allow that to soak in. So you're basically replicating and mixing up, bringing up to date a traditional trifle. So rather than the sherry and a plain sponge, you've got gorgeous, gorgeous citrus infused sponge. You're then dolloping on a beautiful preserve with booze in it, and then you're adding a liqueur. So yeah, what's not to love basically. I then have got some mandarins. These are in a light syrup, but you can use them in fruit juice. Stay with citrus, orange segments, mandarin, clementine, it's all much of a muchness. This is what I happen to have in my cupboard and it's been there for donkeys, so I'm delighted to be able to use it up. Pop those in there. So that's your fruity layer. Use fresh if you want to, but I actually think tinned is better because they've softened up and absorbed the juice they've been stored in. And then to add your dairy. Now, in the recipe, in the all-day cookbook, it calls for Greek yogurt. You can do that, but I'm feeling extra decadent today and using full-fat creme fraiche. I adore this stuff. I think it's childhood holidays in Normandy. Oh gosh, it's just so delish. So spread that over the top, and to my mind it's fresher, it's got a little bit of a bite compared to a heavy conventional whipped cream. And as I always say in my videos, you will do a much, much better job at presentation than I, but I'm all right at flavour. So then I've bought some shop bought meringue, break that up, put on the top, and then I've pre-zested with my beloved microplaner a lemon, and you can then sprinkle the lemon zest over the top, and it's just a glorious, easy little pud. If you can't be bothered or haven't got the time or the ingredients to make the St Clements cake, you can always head to our online shop and buy our Snowy Hills lemon and ginger slice, which is very similar. It's got a shortbread base, but it would work just as well to line the glass and then repeat the processes I've just shown you now. But it's best described, I would say, as a trifle hybrid cross Eton Mess type of thing with lots and lots of citrus. It's really delicious, best served chilled. Thanks so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it.